Don't broadcast when you're sharing a message. Speak to your muse. Be super clear on exactly who your ideal customer is, your ideal consumer, your ideal client, your ideal patient, and hit them right between the eyes. Speak directly to them.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
What's up, Remarkables? Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
Hey, I hope you guys are having as good of a day as we are. We're just joking about first world problems. Man, my heart's full of gratitude. I know that there's a lot of craziness going on in the world and in the country. It's some things that are hitting close to home right now because we've got some of our clients, some of our friends that are affected by the tornado craziness that's going on in the middle of our country. So our just thoughts and prayers and love and support go out to them. And man, what a perfect frame to make us appreciate the problems that we struggle with every day. Dr. Pete, I love to say, thank you, Lord. I love my problems.
Yeah, one of the things you shared with me once is a really good, it's a truth and it's really important. It's choose your problems. It's a really good framework. It's a really good mindset. Choose your problems. In other words, you will have problems. For me, my faith is very important to me. And so in the Bible, it says, in this world, you will have trouble, but take heart because I have overcome the world. It's one of my favorite scriptures. It doesn't say you're not going to have troubles. You will have troubles.
You may have trouble.
It's clear. It's clearly stated you will have troubles. There's also another verse that talks about how the storms are going to hit, and it's going to hit both houses. And it really just depends on how firm is your foundation. And so, a shout out to those who are not a shout out. Our prayers go out to you who are walking through some challenging things. And I know there's some of our Remarkable Practice family specifically who I'm thinking about and praying for, and just want you to know that we love you and we appreciate you. We're here to support you in any way that we possibly can. And, when I think about this, Dr. Stephen, and, what we're grateful for, we have so much to be grateful for. One of the things that I love that we do when we begin our calls is I always ask the group, I said, hey, what are your wins? Another way I might describe that is, what are you grateful for right now? Like when you think about your business, what rises, what kind of gratitude rises inside of you? When you think about your personal life, like what arises inside of you that you're grateful for? And that's how I approach it actually sometimes in a sense, because if you have something you're grateful for, you're winning, right? That is a win. And like you said, we have so much to be grateful for. And if you're a chiropractor, full stop, you have a lot to be grateful for. The fact that you actually became a chiropractor, we don't need to we can end the call. Like you have so much going for you.
Yes.
You have everything behind you and on your side. I mean, of all the billions of people on the earth, you know what you know and get to do what you do and can impact and influence people the way you get to. Full stop. We're done with the call. You're good. Go. Just go, right? So we have so much to be grateful for, Dr. Stephen. And, today I'm grateful that we get to have a podcast and an episode and we get to record, and I'm in my studio and you're in yours, and we can make this happen, and it's seamless. And we have an amazing team behind that helps us bring this to the people that are listening. And some of you who are listening love listening, and those who love listening, hopefully this is helping you have a more remarkable life and a more remarkable business. And for those of you who are listening and haven't shared it, I am going to ask you to share it because I think other people would love to listen to this, right?
That's
because
right.
we want to help more chiropractors, help more people. Dr. Stephen, so very grateful for you, grateful for the opportunity to work with you and to be able to do this podcast together.
Yeah, invite them into the conversation, please, guys. It's the greatest way to say thank you. It's the greatest way for you to show your appreciation. If you get value for this podcast, we've been doing now almost 5 years. This is something that we love to do. Man, try to get us to stop doing it, right? So, Dr. Pete, I always say that the podcast recording time is like the weekly workshop was for me. I had to share this message or my head was going to explode, right? So I just appreciate having this outlet, having this platform, and what a privilege to be able to speak to so many awesome chiropractors around the world. We never get tired of hearing it, guys. So please let us know that you're listening to the show, that you love it. Tell us what's resonating with you. Tell us what you're using. Tell us what helped you. Like, and by the way, we're the DJs. You're on the dance floor. We take requests. What do you guys want us to drill down on, right? So you can ask us whatever you want. We'll unpack it, right? So it's like, what a great way to do it. You can put it in the show notes here. If you're listening to us on YouTube, you can put it there. You can hit us up, just drop it in the DMs, and we read everything, right? So make sure that if you got something you want us to unpack, just let us know, right? So we nothing makes us more energized than knowing that we're addressing somebody very specifically, right? So usually what we're talking into is, we have so many of our clients. We spend the week with the clients. We're just coming right out of a mastermind week, and we listen to our clients. We listen to what's going on in chiropractic. We have hundreds and hundreds of doctors that are in our masterminds. So now we get a great view into what's going on in the chiropractic practice. Like, what are you guys wrestling with? What are you struggling with? What's hard? What's exciting? What are you curious about? So we get to speak to you guys through those mastermind exposures, but speaking to us directly, asking us direct questions, it allows us to speak to you directly. And that's really the subject for today's conversation is talking about how to share your message, right? So how to formulate your message, shape your message, and how to convey your message, and what you should be thinking about. We're going to share a pro tip with you today, which is speak to your muse when you're delivering the message, right? So the delivery is just so critically important, right? So right now I am thinking of a very specific client. Okay. I know who this message is for. This message is for this client. I'm not going to use your name. Okay. But I'm talking to you right now because you're cranking out a lot of content and you're wrestling with the content. You think it feels forced. You feel like, you say things like, I haven't quite found my voice yet. I'm not getting any engagement. I don't feel like there's anyone listening. I don't know if it's worth my time. You say things like that, right? So this message is for you. And what I'm going to share with you right now, Doc, is you are my muse, right? You're my muse for what I want to share and bring to this conversation right now with you, Dr. Pete, is this client, super smart, huge heart for service, real mission-driven chiropractor, but he's broadcasting, right? So he's not delivering a very specific message to a very specific person. So his message is not resonating. So here's the trick. This is the pro tip when it comes to delivering a message that will feel compelling and relevant. Is people will say things to you like, oh my gosh, you were talking right at me, dog. Was that for me? Was I the guy that you were referencing? Right. So the answer is yes. Right. So I am thinking of you right now. So you're right. I'm talking right to you. You are my muse. You're a real person that I know, somebody who is struggling with something, somebody that has a certain belief system, somebody has a certain walk or behaviors or habits. I'm speaking specifically to you because I want to convey this message to you. And here's the thing. I'm speaking to you right now because you are my ideal client. You're my ideal customer. You're my ideal consumer. And I would love to have 1,000 copies of you because I know we can help you so much make a bigger impact. And guess what? If I speak to you, there's going to be tens of thousands of people just like you. Okay. And I'm going to pick up 30% of the marketplace on either side of you. Right. So Dr. Pete, this is just such a huge win-win. Don't broadcast when you're sharing a message. Speak to your muse. Be super clear on exactly who your ideal customer is, your ideal consumer, your ideal client, your ideal patient, and hit them right between the eyes. Speak directly to them.
So one of the things that's really helped me learn this and do this is, and I was sharing this with you before, was in my radio show Years and Days, and how important it was for me to have a story of someone who I was thinking about. And what I found was when I was speaking about Mary and Mary's story, I was actually thinking about her. This is why it was successful. This was without me knowing in a sense, the science of speaking
the formula,
the muse versus the avatar. It was like, I was just thinking about Mary, and I was thinking about Mary's story, and I was getting emotionally reconnected with Mary as I was sharing her testimony and walking through like her story and her journey from before chiropractic and then chiropractic and then after chiropractic. And I saw this story of transformation. I was speaking into that, and I was reminding myself as I was sharing with the audience this amazing story, and I was speaking to the audience. And then when I would do my call to action, and it was a very simple call to action, it was either a special that I was running that specifically people who could relate with Mary's story. Like, you were talking directly to me when you shared her story. That was my story. That was that's exactly where I am right now, or that's right where my husband is right now. And so they would pick up the phone and they would call and they would book in and they would take up on that offer. And they were like, I want to come to that event that you got coming up. I want to take up one of those offerings that you have, or I want to talk to this doctor on the other side of this line. And because we had a call-in radio show, right? So, I was taking calls live on Sunday night and live on Saturday morning. And, and so what that did for me was it taught me what you're speaking about, Dr. Stephen, is that when we're communicating, like I have that, we have that, you and I, because we actually discussed this. We've trained ourselves. You've reminded me, you always remind me. And it's so helpful to see who is on the other side of this meeting, because you and I were talking to each other right now. So I see you, but I'm not necessarily speaking to you right now. Like you weren't speaking to me right in that moment. I picked up things that you said. I thought they were really valuable. So I got things out of that, but directly through me, you were speaking beyond me to that person.
That's right.
So for a lot of us, you might be in your home studio. You might be in front of somebody holding a camera or a phone or something, and you're not speaking to them. And that's the mistake sometimes we make, is like, I'm not speaking to the person behind the camera, whether it's your spouse or a team member, a CA, one of your docs, like, one of your kids,
or just your iPhone up on a
tripod,
right?
Or right in front of your screen on your computer. You have to be able to see past that and visualize. This is where visualization comes in, Dr. Stephen, and visualizing that person and seeing them where they are right now, and what are they up to, and what's going on inside of them right now, like what's stirring inside of them. And so when you speak into that person, right, it's like, I don't know what it was, but whatever you said, like I needed that right now, like that just really struck a chord. Like that was so good. Like I'm so thankful that I tuned in. That I remember I used to get that. I'm so glad I tuned in like right then, because of all the times when I never listened to that station. And they would always say like, I never listened to that station. And I turned it on and you were there and I heard you. And so I called in and now my life has changed, right? I loved that. And like you said, Dr. Stephen, there's a difference between broadcasting and speaking to the ideal person, the person, like the ideal person, like who is that you're trying to message? So it's different than just the avatar, right, Dr. Stephen? Because you might be speaking to a specific man. You might be speaking to a specific woman. You might be speaking to a specific family. You might be speaking to a specific condition. And you're thinking of the person with that condition or that family. And what does it feel like to be a family? The struggles of family and raising kids and keeping kids healthy and in this crazy world. And you speak to that mother that is just, exactly where she's at right now. She's mama bear and she's doing everything right. She's doing everything she knows to do. And yet still on the struggle bus and doesn't know maybe what you know. And then all of a sudden you speak to her and you don't condemn her, but you convict her and you share enlightening things with her that actually encourage her to take the next step versus shutting down, but turning on. Right. And there's just an art to that. There's a sensitivity and there's a specificity. So speaking to the muse actually forces you in a healthy way to become a better communicator, someone who is a better connector. And actually is going to be more impactful. So like you said, it's not just, it's not resonating, but because that's what's happening. It's just that's missing. You're missing the mark.
That's right. So you used a different term, avatar versus muse. And I want to differentiate those because avatars are useful, right? But an avatar is constructed. Think about the movie Avatar, right? So an avatar is something that you kind of bolt together, right? So it's like, it's a demographic, psychographic representation. And you're like, oh, this type of person that I want to take care of is they're the white collar leader who's a high performer, type A professional who's trying to run a busy business and run a life, and they like to work out and they probably play a sport and ski on the weekends, right? Like you start building out this avatar, right? Or no, I like to have the 40 something executive who's just discovered CrossFit, who's trying to get their butt back in shape, but every time they go to the gym, they're banging themselves up, but they've got the heart for it. And they've got tenacity and they just want to get fit. And this is their chance. This is their chance to get back in shape and they're going to be shaped for the rest of their life. And it's like, no, I want to take care of the mom who is just trying to figure out how to raise kids naturally in an unnatural world, right? So it's like, she wants to have healthy babies and healthy kids. And she's a homeschool mom. And she's like you just start building out these avatars, right? That's very healthy. That's an awesome exercise. Different exercise. I'm talking about the muse. Okay. And this is a real person. I mean, I can tell you right now that the first person that I was describing, That's Chris Davis, right? An attorney. I took care of him, his sons, his wife. I mean, the whole family came in, but I know I love those people. Okay. So I love those people that would be otherwise probably a hard person to handle if you didn't have strong certainty and conviction and would push back against their pushback. Like, I like that type of person, right? Because when you win that person over and you earn their trust, they're going to be an awesome patient forever. And everybody in their life knows how hard they are to win over. So when you do win them over, everyone follows their referral, right? So I like earning that person's trust. Or I can remember Ed Latham, right? So he was my avatar for that 40-something CrossFitter. It was like, man, I got to get my life back. I've just sacrificed my life at the cubicle and I built myself up professionally, but I'm falling apart physically and I'm just unhappy because of it. I want to get back. He was the muse. And whenever I shared that kind of content for that person, I would be talking just to Ed. Right. And then it was Kristen Papanikolaou. That was the mom who came in. She had a boyfriend and then she was pregnant. Well, then they get married and then she brought him in as her husband and then they got pregnant and then they raised their 3 kids in. And then her mother and father and his mother came in. I mean, we just built out these multiple generations. That Papanikolaou family was an ideal muse family. Then there's the Paracellas, Jen Paracel and Chris Paracel with their 4 kids that get raised in our practice. It was Skylar, Ace, Zane, and Juno. They'd be coming in to get adjusted. That was our muse family. I'd be talking to Jen when I was writing a blog post, writing an article, putting together a video, creating a workshop. Everything that I was doing, I was speaking to Jen, and everyone around her wanted to be like Jen. Right. So we'd pick up 30% of the people that were younger than her or older than her. Right. So that were like her demographic or just on either side of it. Dr. Pete, this is such a powerful thing when it comes to creating your message, sharing a message, shaping your message, your offering, like what your practice is like, your look and feel, right? The experience, the UX of your practice, the message and the delivery of that message. If you speak to the muse, it's going to resonate with that muse and everyone like her.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner, dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
All right, guys, I am so excited for this interview today. I'm here with my friend, Dr. Kendall Price. He is also the owner of Elevate Marketing, and we're going to jump into his interview because he's got a lot to share. But on a side note, I had the good fortune of getting to spend some time a year or 2 ago where we met at the Principled Chiropractic Association in Illinois. I got to speak there, and then we got to hang out afterwards, and I got to hear more about Kendall's heart for chiropractic and why he's doing Elevate Marketing. And I also got to share with him some of the things that we're doing in chiropractic. So it was a great time to really just get to know each other. And so I'm excited for this interview today. Welcome to the podcast, Kendall. I'm going to pitch it to you right away. Just give the listeners a little bit of your background and who you've been in chiropractic and where things are at today. And obviously tell us about Elevate Marketing.
Yeah, so I'm a 2015 life grad. I came out and opened my practice from scratch, ran my practice for 8 years. I actually have just recently sold my practice. So I was a TRP doc and I went through, the build and the scale and the exit strategies. And so I'm very...
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. And so that's been the framework that I've really worked from, with this. And so my story with Elevate really plays off of just my heart, I think, for chiropractic, because I think that there's too many chiropractors who are playing small. And I think that one of the things that I love most about TRP is the fact that they kind of look at it from the old, your doctor hand and your business hand. And I think that that's something that is truly, truly missing in our profession. And I've always really loved both. I love seeing patients, right? We were a 350, 400 a week office. I ran $1 million practice for, 4 or 5 years. And so this opportunity with Elevate, if I'm very honest, is a totally self-serving thing in the beginning. I was having dinner with my business partner, Gil, and he was telling me, hey, I'm starting to run digital ads for businesses. What do you think about me running it? And so I just helped him kind of build it for a chiropractor, right? Like for an office that was busy and then gave
for
him
your office, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was for me, right? And so I was client number 1. And what happened is I started, referring all my friends to him. And at a certain point, he's like, look, I need help with this. And so, in the very beginning, I was very silent partner, helping him to just understand chiropractic. Then it was helping to kind of coach and consult and, push patient, our clients to, organizations like TRP to like, we can market and we can do everything, but if you don't know what to do with them, it's not going to help your practice, right? And so that was how it started. And so I was very happy in my practice. We were growing, we were seeing it. I had brought in associates. I had honestly kind of taken a step back and enjoying time coaching my kids and wrestling and, hunting and fishing and doing all the things that I love to do.
That we can see on your wall.
Yes. But the thing that I realize is that, having, served in my state association, I've been the vice president for the past couple of years now. And before that, I served on the board. I got involved right out of school in helping because I think that our profession is in a place where it's like, if we're not getting involved, we're not helping. And I know that you have a very like-minded vision of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd always been very involved with trying to help doctors. My wife jokes that I should have started a coaching organization because I have every night I'm on the phone with somebody, talking about how they can optimize their practice and people who aren't even our clients. Right. And so that transition for me, really, we got to the point where the next logical move for me was that I could continue to see 400 visits a week in my office or try and push that forward and hire or open another office,
Mm-hmm.
or I could try and help 400 docs see 400 patients a week in their office.
Right.
And the impact of that is so much greater, right? I think that one of the coolest stats that we keep is the number of patients that have walked through patients' doors. We're over 300,000 new patients that have walked into chiropractors' doors.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Amazing. Yes. So that's really what's led me to the position that I'm in now. And so I think that where we're headed as a company is not just to be your digital marketing company, which there are tons of them out there, and there are good ones out there, right? But it's to also give everybody the mindset of how they execute on marketing from a systems and a strategy, because the biggest problem that I see is that people are not following up with those leads and their potentials the way that they really should be. And so that's really what I'm trying to create is a system within to where we're helping you not only to get leads in the door, but how you actually get those leads to show up, because I did it, right? Everything that I'm telling our clients to do, I did it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So and you kind of already answered this, but just so that I'm clear. So like one of the problems you solve is like, yeah, we might have leads showing interest, but we're not getting those leads into the door. So tell me, like, Elevate solves the problem of helping you systematize that interest into an actual patient showing up and onboarding them.
Yeah. And so I think that there's a kind of a couple points to that. So the first thing that we do with any client that starts with us is we do a market analysis, right? So we're looking, because everyone right now in the digital marketing space is just throwing blanket recommendations out there, right? Like $1,500 in ad spend. This is what it is. Like, but the reality is that we're just not playing in that sandbox, because just like every patient is different, every office is different. And an office in a small town is not going to need to spend what someone in a big town is going to spend. And so looking at the demographics, looking at what offers other people are running, we want to make you as competitive in the market as possible and not waste your ad dollars trying to figure that out. And so we go in and we look at these demographics and this information that we know helps us lead you to what you should be doing to have the greatest chance of success. And so that's the first thing that we're doing. Beyond the automations and things that we do, what's really cool about some of the automations that what we're seeing is that we've actually developed nurture sequences that we all know when you're running Facebook ads that not everybody is going to show up, right? And so we have developed systems where actually about 35% of those, so the number is actually 37, but 37% of those patients will rebook that don't show up for that first visit. And so it's increasing the number of people that continue to show up, month over month over month, because the sales cycle for that person, they may not be ready right then. And so it may take time to nurture them, but eventually over time, they come back in. And then the third part that we have is so I took all the trainings from my office as far as how to follow up with a patient, how to connect with a patient on the phone. And so we have a call center that, and we call them patient concierges or patient coordinators, because they're actually getting people booked into your calendar. So it's not just someone who's got a script that's calling, right? It's people who actually understand chiropractic, because that's philosophically, as a company, those are the things that I'm giving to my team every single week. Right.
That's huge. And I think that right there too is like why sometimes people are like, but I don't want to put this on my staff. And so you're telling us you guys are handling a lot of that.
And truth be told, the numbers are astounding. I looked at our numbers for December and January, actually just last week, and we are scheduling 50% of patients that are connected. So if the call is connected, they're going to book 50% of those patients, which there is nobody that is. Yeah. I mean, the numbers are impressive, but it's ultimately because we're running our company from philosophical basis and trying to get people. Our team is going on mission with our offices to serve, right? And that's the perspective that we're taking as a company to push everyone, not only from an office, but as a community, and as a profession forward.
No, that's beautiful. Well, and I think that's an interesting thing. Obviously, your people that are calling must be pretty dang trained in on what they're supposed to say and how to like do that from a connected place. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, what do you think that means about the consumer too? Like, are they more ready for chiropractic than ever? Or like, what do you think's, looking ahead, the future?
Yeah. I mean, I tell my team that we work between training, and that goes across the board for my entire team. And so I think that from a market perspective, I mean, we've heard this for years and years and years, right? It's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. It's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. And I think that there's some truth to that. But at the same time, we have to be doing, if we zoom out and we look at what's happening in marketing, right? The medical machine, the pharmaceutical cartel, they're spending millions and billions. The only way we beat them is by connecting better and being better than them. And so I think that by us doing the things that we're doing, that's going to help offices to be successful. Because if I'm very honest with you, I don't care whether someone works with my company or not. I still want them to succeed with this. And I'm willing to give my time to help them understand what they can do. Because for me, it's more about the profession, and ultimately the tide rises all boats.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. You're awesome, Dr. Kendall. That's so good to hear. So if our CEOs are listening right now and they want to connect with you and find out if Elevate could help them, which sounds like probably is yes, what do you suggest that they do next?
Yeah, so I mean, they can do a couple things. I mean, obviously, you can always reach out to me personally, right? I'm on Facebook, right? You'll see a picture of me probably holding up a dead deer in my picture. But so Kendall Price, look me up on Facebook, shoot me a message. You can email me, Dr. Kendall at goelevatemarketing.com. You can go to goelevatemarketing.com and schedule a call to jump on. But really, I think that the biggest thing that I would say is that it's taking action, right? You've got to take action. And so if you're not taking action and you're not taking the time to build your systems to be successful in your practice, you're falling behind the curve. And that's what we have to change as a profession, is we have to make sure that we're investing the time to really push ourselves forward.
Yeah, spend the time working on the business, and marketing being one of those things, systems to your marketing, right?
Amen.
Well, and I know you're at TRP frequently at the immersions, so I'm sure we'll be seeing you there because you're one of our success partners. So
Yes.
They can come to your booth, see you on stage, all of those ways too.
Yeah. And for those of you, I'll make a a plug for those of you who are not involved in your state associations. You should be involved in your state associations and supporting the people that are helping to push your profession forward, because everything happens at a state level. And if you're not involved and you're not doing what you need to, you need to be getting involved. We're all over the place trying to push the message of chiropractic and good marketing out there, right? But we have to partner together in order for things to work, right? I'm a firm believer that if you want to go fast, right, go alone. You want to go far, you got to go together.
So good. So good. Thank you for all of that. Thank you for all you do for our profession. It's really remarkable to hear what you're doing behind the scenes and how many people are coming into everyone's office. So I love that. Thank you, Kendall.
Absolutely. Thanks, Doc.
Okay. See you soon.
Cool.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.